Anyway, what's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Actually, I'm trying something different real quick. Orientation. All right. So, anyway, I just wanted to do this quick video real quick. Um, I'm not gonna. It doesn't even matter where I got this from. Actually, I'm trying something. I'm testing something real quick with a new device. So that's actually why I wanted to do this real quick. So you'll see me start doing streams, apps into the car, and shit like that, and stuff like that. But anyway, what's up, Zero Max? In the manosphere, a lot of times I get the opinion, or I get the feeling, or I observe that you have people that, quite frankly, they are trying to get, it's like they're trying to ask people for permission to do shit. You know, we have these debates, and when you ask yourself, why does this stuff get heated? Why do a lot of people take shit personally if stuff wasn't meant personally? Why do people try to personalize it? Why do people always try to bring it to, like, how they move or how they operate? Um, you know, it's always about, they're always like, oh, well, I do this, I do that. And I'm like, motherfucker, I wasn't talking about you. I'm talking about the overall, the law of averages, the macro shit. They always want to bring it to the micro. It's because a lot of dudes, it's not that they're directly asking for permission to do something, but what they're doing is they're asking for people to validate what they do, to validate how they move. And you know, there's varying degrees of this. Some people don't. Some people consciously do it. Some people subconsciously do it. You know, this is why I keep saying the same thing over and over again. And I'll give you a perfect example. So I'm looking at a stream, and you know, they got into it. It was a lot of great streams on yesterday, anyway. But they got into it about. They didn't get into it, but they decided to talk about, you know, the idea of travel. Yeah, what's up, Sigma? What's up, Sigma? The idea of traveling and why black men do it. Now, see, I know when you actually, you very rarely see dudes going overseas just to fuck. That is a add-on. It's kind of like, I'm here, this is something I could do. If you do that. But, but, it's this idea that, like, there's, even because there's not a lot of black men traveling anyway. Only about 6% of black men have passports. That's number one. But number two, of those dudes that have them, usually they were exposed to traveling another way. Like, for example, they were exposed to traveling vis-a-vis the military, that's the majority, vis-a-vis business, vis-a-vis whatever, right? They didn't just decide, I want to get some bitches, so I'm gonna get this passport. Unless they, and you know that's not true, because even a lot of dudes who've got money, whether they're rappers, whether they're entertainers, you know, as far as, you don't see that. You really don't. Even a lot of business, you don't see that shit. Oh, I got enough money, so I might as well travel just so I can fuck the business. You don't really see that. So that's actually a minority of a minority of how people get into it. When you actually look at all of the travel websites, the ones to the extent that they are, you don't see it all rotating around fucking bitches. Yeah, you got some groups here and there on Facebook, but like the actual websites that produce stuff, even from the dudes, Passport Kings, he talks about the women, Passport Heavy and all of them. That's usually not what they're talking about. But see, it's this aura. The dudes are out here. The only reason they're traveling is fucking. That's not true. But that's a narrative that people want to get. And by the way, when you're over there, you realize very quickly that that's not really what's going on. Now, are people fucking? Are people doing the sex tourism thing? Sure, but that's more not. That's more white men than anybody doing that. As far as actually was outside of, like, maybe the Dominican Republic, because black men ain't going to Brazil like that. Like that, they're not. Not in, like, the majority of dudes that actually do that. They're usually going to the DR and then a couple other places. But the point to that, I just wanted to map out what was going on. The point to me even saying any of that is really saying this. Yeah. The point is, this is not about me defending anything. If shit make this thing where people talk about, oh well, you might as well spend it on an experience, which is what people are talking about when they talk about traveling. You might as well get, which by the way, millennials have been about anyway. You might as well get a better experience than deal with the dating market. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because nobody is out here really. Only very few people are only like traveling. The point is, because this isn't traveling is just the main thing that a lot of dudes. It's like logic kind of goes out the window for some reason. So, and it's a lot of dudes that I'm cool with on everything, but this issue is like where it's like it's an issue. So I'll say this: they have every right to have their opinion for whatever reason they have their opinion. Even if you think it's stupid and it's illogical and it doesn't make sense, and you can tell it doesn't make sense because when you actually ask questions, I could break shit down any which way. I really could. Because one argument that's always presented, I've heard this presented by a lot of people, is this idea of America is the big leagues. I'm gonna get into that in a second. But the main point, because I don't want to get to the point, I'm gonna start getting to the point a lot earlier in these videos, the moral of this video, so to speak, and not make y'all listen till the end. Okay. Um, is this if shit makes sense for you, do you. You are only accountable to yourself. That's it. At the end of the day, you're accountable to yourself and the decisions that you make. Obviously, depending on how people help you out, all that comes into play. But for this point, you are accountable to only yourself. Your decisions are your decisions, whether you win, you lose, or otherwise. People have their wins, people have their losses. Some people do more winning and losing. You get that. But at the end of the day, we can have these conversations back and forth. And let's be clear here. This is something that I have to take a step back and kind of reinforce in myself as well. I'm not going to act like, oh, well, da da da. I'm not asking nobody permission to do shit. But what I do try to do is get consensus. I'll get to y'all comments in a second. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is basically, does the shit make sense for you? That's it. And if it does, it doesn't fucking matter what anybody else is doing or talking about. It doesn't matter. See this, see how this works. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't fucking matter. You let me know if the picture comes in a little bit better on this screen. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It really doesn't. And because it makes sense for you. And oftentimes we get on these panels and motherfuckers just get so fucking animated, they forget that, at the end of the day, this, when people are listening, they're listening to get our insights. And, like I said, I'm some of the worst ones because I take up a lot of oxygen in the room. I know I do that. So it is what it is. But they're trying to get insights from different perspectives. Some people's perspectives, I think they're fucking stupid. And usually when I'm on a panel where everybody's saying is on point, then, you can see that reflected. But like I said, when it comes back to the travel thing or anything, if the shit makes sense for you, that's the only person who's got to make sense for you. And be honest with yourself too. That's another thing. People are not honest with themselves. And I'm not, when I say honest, that's between you and the mirror if you're honest with yourself. But at the end of the day, man, motherfuckers look at some of these YouTubers and they be like, oh, or in the manosphere, it's like, oh man, I need them to agree with me. There's people I absolutely rock with.
Alan,
get with.
Yeah, get some potatoes.
So when it comes down to what is going on, they hold on one second. Sorry, I'm in my mom's house working on something, so I'm waiting for her and shit. Anyway, okay. Like I said, at the end of the day, Yeah, too many motherfuckers are looking for permission to do shit, and that's a part of procrastination. Do you, and it is what it is. That's it. Like I don't need to explain to motherfuckers. Oh well, dating. If you date, all that shit is stupid. Because my thing is, if you don't understand that, you don't understand that because you don't want to fucking understand that. And a lot of dudes need to start seeing shit as like that. Motherfuckers, you got motherfuckers that want to talk about traveling, ain't travel, all that. That shit don't matter because we have these arguments, and unless somebody's saying some crazy shit, like some pedophilia shit or some stupid shit like that, where they're just outright just trying to nuke some shit. Hold on 1 second. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because here's the thing: you got people out here that they're breaking their own code because they're pocket watching other niggas or they're worried about what other niggas do. And people and I get and let's be clear here. This is for the audience too. When you got like even with the SYSBM stuff, I've always said I do me first. I do me first. And when you have people, a lot of dudes, and I'm not even my thing about it when it comes to who's real SYSBM, who's new to this shit, I don't give a fuck about an acronym. One of the reasons why a lot of dudes took to that shit because that shit already fits what they're already on. It was the same thing with Igmore. That's it. Black men that really are like, look, I'm doing me, and I'm not gonna allow y'all to use like being pro-black or some racial shit as a mechanism to try to get me to do shit for somebody else. Where at the end of the day, they want to do what the fuck they want to do. It's like if you're gonna do what the fuck you want to do what you want to do, but don't sit there and expect somebody else to clean that shit up. That's not anybody else's job to clean that up. And that's where we get into the rub with a lot of this shit. So at the end of the day, do you have a code, know what it's about, and be accountable and be honest with yourself. So anyway, let's see what the fuck y'all talking about. Cause like I said, I gotta see how this thing looks. So Sigma I see is in the building heavy. What's up, Dollar Washer? That is true. And another big thing too is when people get on YouTube, that's why I got mad respect for like Ramil, AM1, Erica, people, seeing people face to face. I really need to get on that. But when but what you have okay. So I got my thing on my screen. Let's see where the microphone's coming from. But yeah, I mean, as far as walking it like you talk it, yeah, you right. You got a lot of folks that are front. That's one thing. They like to get on here and talk all that shit, and then they be bullshitting. And then when somebody calls them out on it, they call them out on it. My thing is, I don't really care about exposing people. That's not what I want to do, because I value privacy. But at the same time, you're supposed to present this shit from a logical perspective too. What you're not supposed to do is sit here and then just try to say, well, you need to listen to me because I got more street credibility. Okay, if you won't say that, then all right, you're going to have to show it. You don't get to just think you're going to get on here and battle rap and make shit up. And I'm talking about that for anybody. That's when you open yourself up. Okay, so you saying, oh, well, just, because I said it is what it is. Okay, then show it. Because if you can't show it, you can't put that into the lexicon like that. And I'm talking to anybody that would do that. But a lot of that permission shit is more for the audience than anybody. A lot of that permission stuff is for the audience because you got a lot of dudes that be in the comment section and they're looking for permission for people to kind of it's not even permission to do it, but people to validate how they move. And I'm like, if it makes sense to you, then it makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, then you need to change it. It's really that simple. But stop trying to push these narratives. And I'm not even talking about just the travel shit, even the pro-black shit. All of it, all of the categories. People want to push their narratives, and then when you break all their narratives, they want to start calling you names and shit. oh well, you must be a homosexual because you not bending over validating women. Something must be wrong with you because you don't believe that it's better to have a community where bitches do what the fuck they want to do than it is to not have a community. So there must be something naturally wrong with you, or maybe it's because you light skinned. It's like whatever they say. It's like, dude, just go back to the drawing board, do your homework, and come back when you equalize that bullshit out. This shit has been presented. The points are the points. Exactly, King Sigma, exactly. King Sigma says SYSBM and male freedom are not synonymous. SYSBM is just an acronym for something way bigger. It is. That's why a lot of people can kind of look at SYSBM like at the aggregate from the top down or see it from far away and say, yeah, I rock with that. Because the only thing they're really seeing about it is, oh, you saying that I should do me and I should do me. And then if somebody wants to work with me, they're going to have to do something that actually makes sense to me. Nobody's saying there has to be a one-on-one ratio for somebody to deal with the community. But what I am saying is it can't be you should just deal with the community and you should just throw shit into a black. And when I say investment, we're not even talking about like a return on. We're talking about NGO type stuff. NGOs are not going to spend money on stuff that it's not going to create an outcome that they want. Now the outcome that they want may not be the outcome that they tell you it is, but it is an outcome. Ain't nobody just throwing money out for bad. And part of out for bad is like, okay, if you all are not going to be clear and be honest about what your intentions are, you all just want money from as another mechanism of like a welfare program. That's how it is, because you all are not being, and it's the same thing with the black church. Black people give money to the black church. They don't even know why. It's not even in the Bible that you have to tithe, but they do it. Why? Because that's just what they know. They don't question it. Not really. And as a result, black people over the course of what, 40 years, 50 years now, it'll be what, 45 years? They've given over like $400 billion to the collectivity of the black church. That's technically supposed to be black people giving money to themselves. That money should be spending in the community. The black church should be spending more money, when I say spend, not spending more money in the community than anybody, but it doesn't. Why? Because you got people hustling. It's the same shit that goes on in Africa. See, and I'm gonna keep it real. We talk about Africans as far as the leaders they elect. We do the same thing on a smaller scale. We do the same thing with the black politicians, and we do the same thing with our pastors. It's the same shit. It is the exact same bullshit. I'm trying to see how the lighting is. So I'm gonna go back in this video. It's the exact same bullshit. It's just in a different way. And we look stupid as hell doing it. Because those motherfuckers are not reinvesting in us. They're taking that money and spending it somewhere else. And that's true whether it's black men or white men. Black men or white women. I mean, black men or black women. They do the same shit. We just do the same shit in different ways. It's like 70 degrees out here. So yeah, that's an excellent, great point. And people miss that. Like they really do. They get so invested in like what's going on YouTube. I'm like, shit is happening everywhere else. Like the shit that motherfuckers are talking about, just because you hang around black people, they seem to only fuck with black people because that seems to be the culture you're dealing with. That's not necessarily how the world really is. It just depends on what lane you're in. Anyway, let's go back. Absolutely. Sigma says it's okay for American black women to go overseas just to fuck. They dare not speak against the actions of American black women. No, they're conveniently silent on that. And what people are quiet about is always telling as to who's their master and how they get. You can tell a lot about how on code folks are by what they don't say, by what they don't mention, by what they don't bring up, just as much as you can by what they do. One thing about social media is social media gives you what a lot of people don't realize about social media, and I'm sure Sigma will really appreciate this, is they don't realize the beauty of social media is not you taking individuals at face value. It's about looking at the pattern. Social media is probably one of the best and honest social surveys that you can ever get. And I'm curious to ask Sigma up front about this. If I when I get the chance, you see how people emotionally react to things, which is the best estimation as to where they are. Because if you ask somebody a direct question, they're going to give you an answer based on a lot of different shit. Some of it may be legit, a lot of it may not be legit. But when these articles, these instances, these events, these trending news events happen, you see where a lot of people are. Think about it. If you did a social survey and you framed it a certain, number one is how you're framing the question, is how people are going to answer it. But you ask them direct questions about how black women feel about black men, fuck, even or white women, how white women ultimately feel about black men, they're going to give you a certain answer. A lot of times it's politically correct. However, when Kobe unfortunately passed, you got to really see how the media responded, how social media responded, how different sectors of social media responded, how different demographics within those sectors responded. You got to see all of that, and you can't take that shit back. You can't just take it back because it's out there now. You can see, are they going to give you are they going to actually look for what the truth is? Are they going to speak on shit at the surface level? Are they going to you know, use him as a lightning rod before he's buried? I mean, Kobe is still not buried yet. I mean, keep that in mind. You saw. I mean, and there was some great things. Like, shout out to the sister that defended Kobe Bryant on the media. She was on code. Real talk. And it's always like these the brown skin / light skin. It seems like always, if anybody gonna be defending sisters, it's gonna be usually that. Defending black men, it's usually gonna be that. I don't know why that is, but whatever. But anyway, you got to see all of that. And that's not just with that event, it's, any event. I mean, you can look in a man. That's why I need to get back on timelines, get on these trending news events. 2019, 18, you got to see that. You got to see what people did in the past, and are they still doing the same pattern? The pattern is what you look for. Too many people try to look at shit at face value. Unless somebody's presenting actual evidence or at least logic and common sense, and they're putting data that can be, at least, because you don't gotta give me a link for me to look something up. I'm not taking what these motherfuckers say at face value. I'm looking at the pattern. I'm looking at the pattern, going back to the travel shit, how you got motherfuckers that trying to, different people that have said the United States is the big leagues. Nobody's never done a video saying what actually makes the United States the big leagues in comparison to everyone else. Your perception of what the United States is only that, your perception, because you never compared it to anywhere else. And the United States is a big country. You got motherfuckers in the Midwest talking about the United States is the big leagues. The Midwest probably has the worst concentration of females in the United States of America. If you compare the cities in the Midwest, what cities do you have in the Midwest? I'm from Chicago. You have Chicago. You have what? Because Texas doesn't count in the Midwest. Texas doesn't count. So you have Chicago, and what do you have? Fucking St. Louis? Literally, the Midwest is the worst region. It's one of the bigger regions, but the land-wise is the worst region for women of any of the regions. The only region you could say that's truly competitive in the first world as a region, I would say, is the West Coast. But outside, and you could argue the Northeast, but I would say as far as beauty with women, all I say is the West Coast. You have to compare this shit city by city. And even then, if you want to say what's the big leagues, that would be Miami, that would be Los Angeles, and New York. And then you may have, and then I would say Chicago, Houston's in there, is like a second tier. I would say Houston, but I wouldn't even say, okay, you say Houston and Chicago. Those are the 5 cities, and then you could kind of throw San Fran in there. Everywhere else don't fucking count. Atlanta does not. Atlanta would be second tier. San Fran, as far as beauty,
I'm talking about beauty. I'm talking about straight beauty. It would be Miami, LA, and New York. Those would be the three places. And really, I would say LA and Miami, but I'll throw New York in there. As far as women gravitate to those areas, to the point the competition is so hyper competitive, you could be a legit 8, but you be like a 6 or a 7. It's only like 3 cities that are like that. So you have to compare city by city globally to then now talk about, okay, what's the big leagues? Because regardless of social shit, the laws are local at the end of the day. But see, you don't hear people saying that. You hear people say that, but then it's the pattern of where they're at. That's what I'm talking about. I look for patterns. And as you see patterns, it's very easy to see the kind of the shadow point or the bullshit that a lot of motherfuckers are saying. Whether it's dudes, whether it's women, whatever. Even with females, I look for the pattern. So you hear me speak to the pattern. That's why I like to ask open-ended questions, because open-ended questions is going to give me an idea of, do you still operate within the same pattern as everybody else, or are you going to give me a different answer? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, and look, I'm not. Here's the thing, man. Pumping and people talk about pumping and dumping, like pumping and dumping is is a lifestyle. Pumping and dumping is a tactic. If a chick is not worthy of your time, it is what it is. By the way, pumping and dumping. You ask 10 different people what pumping and dumping is. You ask women what pumping and dumping is. They talk about they could be going on a date. They could be dating. First of all, we're not on the same page as to what dating really is. We're not on the same page as to what engagement really means. We're not on the same page as to what pumping and dumping means. I asked Danielle what pumping and dumping means. I asked her an open-ended question. She gonna tell me her and Concrete gonna talk about pumping and dumping. You could be dating somebody for 6 months and that's pumping and dumping. That's not pumping and dumping. So it sounds like if the situation ends in a way that you don't get the outcome of what you want, or you feel like you got played, that's pumping and dumping. That's not pumping and dumping. That's not what pumping and dumping means. If you still got somebody's information, then that's not pumping, but that's what they saying. So we're not on the same page. Yeah, I throw New York in there because New York is known as a top city, but I would say LA and Miami first. And at the end of the day, I'm not doing what I'm saying. Look, I map my shit out from a logical perspective, and I say, look, you can take that as it is. I don't give a fuck if you think somebody thinks I'm right. It makes sense to me, and that's it. That's why I've even always talked about the tricking shit. I'm not out here tricking, but at this like that, I'm not out here tricking. But at the same time, if it makes financial sense, that's what I'm gonna do. If it makes financial sense from a cost benefit analysis, saying, okay, I know I'm gonna go out, I know I'm gonna have a good time. I don't have to worry about all of this shit. Oh, what game? How a bitch feels? What a bitch is on? Because we know what these bitches are on. Impact shit like that. I don't need to worry about that. Now, if somebody want to be like, yeah, well, these hoes choose me, so that makes me a better man. Okay, you can think that, but at the end of the day, these will be the same niggas that when a dude comes around that's got more paper than they do and is not directly giving them money, like, this is how a lot of niggas trick. Niggas, black men don't trick vis-a-vis giving women money. Black men trick by having a better car. But black men trick with rims. Black men trick with popping bottles and not paying their rent. That's how black men do it. When they see a dude that can do that and sustain that shit just because, that's when you see the crab in the barrel when niggas come out. Because really, dudes they try to talk about quote unquote tricking when tricking is very much so in black male culture. They just call it other shit. But what what they don't like is they don't like people using economics to terraform an environment. That's what black men hate. And black men are not really honest about that. They're not honest at all about that. That's why they put games so much, because they want it to be a woman's decision based on pure sexuality. Even though that clearly does not create the outcomes. That doesn't create the outcome no matter what. Anyway, like I said, I just want to put this video out here so I can go back through it. Concept SYSBM cover of all, but it's getting hijacked every day. I mean, the concept of SYSBM is a philosophy. I mean, it's not even like really SYSBM is just about doing you. It's really not that complicated. It's really that's all it is. I don't understand why people try to make it like it's something bigger than what it really is. I really don't get that. And then motherfuckers try to make it about something. Oh, this is about this. No, it's not. It's about doing you. That's it. Well, King Sigma, the people that I'm even referencing, I wouldn't necessarily call gynocentric drones. These these are not people that these are dudes. A lot of these dudes I actually respect. It's just on these key issues they get real. I'm in my feelings about shit, and they've never really mapped out why. It's just they have this opinion and let them have that opinion. And you know what? They can have that opinion. And it's funny because these are the very niggas that if you remove them from the environment that allows them to have that opinion, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't have that opinion. So let's see. No, you right. Men in real life don't care. Men in real life do what they do. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. You can't hijack freedom of choice. And the problem is people have a certain idea of what SYSBM means to them. And when they see that not reflected and they expect all this content to be the same thing. And what they don't really understand is a lot of these dudes were on this from the jump. Like even black men that were quote unquote pro black, I'm pro black, but I'm not pro chattel slavery. I'm not pro what pro black means. Pro black means different things to different people. Yeah, what's up, my American Brazilian? I mean, here's the thing. This idea, all you gotta do is go if you want to keep it black, but still listen to what motherfuckers, what the white boys say about white women. All you gotta do is go listen to Donovan Sharp. This idea that idealing Becky might be done is like first of all, Becky's already done. I don't know where you all are getting these kind of like blanket swaths that y'all some of these conclusions that a lot of y'all are coming to. I'm like, where are y'all pulling this shit from? Again, there is no one size fits all solution for black men. There is no well, I'm just gonna go to Becky and everything gonna be all right. No. And see, a big problem with that is you all keep on looking at other groups through the eyes of the shit you didn't get in the black community. And this doesn't matter. Even if see, the funny thing is you got people like Sigma and Donnie that pussy is not an issue. And pussy is not an issue for me. Just because you fucking don't mean that you can't see what's wrong with a bitch. I mean, this is why I keep on always coming back to Minister Jap. Nobody's questioning if Minister Jap gets bitches. But Minister Jap basically says the hardest shit when it comes to black women. Why is that? If it's really about the you ain't fucking bitches and that's why you mad, explain that shit. They can't. Even Tommy Soto had a woman. So I mean that's just a deflection. Well, Jay Jurassic, as far as to show his face, that's some female shit. Oh, I'm gonna attack you because I can't see your face. That's some shit motherfuckers used to do with Jason Black. That's a tactic that's been used. I can't see your face. Look, nobody's asking you to listen. Nobody's asking you to listen. Just like how motherfuckers say what they say to the church, you can have your opinions, but nobody's asking motherfuckers to go. But whatever. I come back to this though. I'm like, why do niggas care what other niggas are doing with their money? That's what I don't understand. They don't get dick. I mean, again, again, just do you. Appreciate that, Big Pope. Well, I mean, SYSBM is not about not fucking with black women. It's about doing you. But the reason why people made it about not fucking black women, because they know if you do a comparison, clearly the cards fall where they fall, and people have no answer for that. So they get mad and they just say, "Well, it's about not fucking with taking black females bullshit." That's what they want us to say. But anyway, you absolutely right, Nicholas Parkinson. They have been traveling. Like every black men are the only men that motherfuckers tend to care about what are they doing. And a lot of people that say they're free thinking black men is not free thinking black men. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. You know, I fuck with Jap, but some of the shit Jap says, I don't. I mean, I know where he's coming from. Like I said, I'm from Chicago, so I believe he's not being insincere in what he says, but it's to the point where that shit is so over the top. It really is so over the top. I mean, it sounds like it's over the top, but there's nothing that he is not saying that is not sincere. And but it's like the way you got to take what he says because it goes so hard. Like it goes so hard, and I'm like, dude, nobody's questioning if he can get female, but you notice nobody mentions him, and I'm not saying anybody should because he gets attacked. But what I'm saying is that kills that argument. Atlanta, no, LA, yes, Atlanta could be, but Atlanta has fallen off because them women are more about. LA is about the look too, but yeah, Dallas, yes, but when we call, I mean, if you talk about the big leagues in America, then yes. But if you're talking about okay, we're gonna take these cities and compare them against other cities and other countries, not so much. Dallas wouldn't necessarily measure up. You really only have three real cities that kind of can fit that standard. So my thing is when people talk about the quote unquote big leagues, I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Because here's the thing: if you go to Europe, then people wouldn't make that horror argument, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, you just like white women. That's the argument that gets made there. You're right; they're not the same as social groups, GA boy. I agree, King Sigma. They do know when to lead, when to follow, when to go it along. Because and a lot of black men don't understand that because it's following. Look, man, you can choose. It ain't like you signing your shit away in blood. But anyway, well, most black men, Sigma, and that's something I think as you how I call you the hyper individualist. You need to. I think you should talk about that. We need to have a panel about that because we got too many niggas that they think being a loner is so. How do we go from being so now you're socially awkward? Oh, well, you do this because you socially awkward. To now niggas are now making it a virtue of being a loner. Like just because you don't see people in packs do not mean they're not associated with affiliation. Just because somebody's in a fraternity doesn't mean you see them in that fraternity all the time. You network with people when it makes sense to you. What's up, AM1? What's up, Grinch? That's all it is. Like for instance, motherfuckers were bringing up AM1 and Erica, and I'm like, AM1 is networking with somebody. They have a mutual, network, and that's what you do. Like, don't take it the wrong way, but I'm not looking at black women. I'm not gonna take a black woman that's got her shit together, and I have something that I can accomplish with her from a business perspective, and then I'm like, oh well, she's black female fuckery and all of that. No, because I'm not even paying attention to her in that lane.
I'm paying attention to her from a, can she deliver what I need her to deliver, or is there money I could get from her by providing her a service? That's it. Now, can there be some fuckery with that? Sure. But that's true for everybody. That's true for everybody. But people don't think about that. You would be surprised how knee deep I am in dealing with sisters when it comes to business. You all would be very, very surprised. To the point where a lot of you all might try to accuse me of being a hypocrite. What I would tell you niggas is business is business. And I've always alluded to the fact that if you're gonna keep it black, there's no way to, like, dude, it's just not enough black men that are in business like they need to be. That just is what it is. But you got dudes that really have this thing where they think, oh man, I'm in a group. I'm not in a SYSBM is a group. No, it's not. It's like-minded people, and people bring to it what they bring to it, and it's within what I call a certain parameters. Just like how Red Pill is like-minded people, but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are card carrying Red Pill, and then people that are what I call Red Pill sympathizers. So when people have this thing about networking in a group, it really comes back to a lot of y'all are really exposing that y'all don't. It's a lot of life lessons y'all need to learn, because if you read one of the earliest books I read, that I picked up and read on my own, was Think and Grow Rich, and that tells you your ability to network with other people. Notice I didn't say group up, but network is creating groups of similar interests. That is probably one of the biggest indicators of your ability to be successful or not, universally. And a lot of people don't understand. A lot of black men don't understand that, because black men were raised to, again, I call it the Highlander syndrome. You were raised to try to have the biggest dick on the table to fuck the most bitches, because, dude, you was raised to be for sex and labor. This is why your own women call you a sperm donor. I've never heard other women call men a sperm donor, except black men. And I first heard black women. I first heard that from black women. And most black men don't even consider that an insult, because they're too busy talking about, I'm glad I'm a sperm donor because that gives me easy access to pussy. These niggas think that they're a better man because these women see them as a sperm donor than another dude that may have money to just throw at a bitch, to not even worry about time. These dudes will say, I'm better than the Arabs because the Arabs gotta fly these bitches here. The Arabs gotta do all this stuff. But because these women choose me for free, I'm a better man. Not thinking about the Arabs got more power than your black ass. Because at the end of the day, you see the loyalty of these females just by the fact of the ungodly shit that they're willing to do for these Arabs that they would never do for your black ass. But because they dropping money. Because money is a form of power. Your ability to get a female to want to fuck you is really not power. It's a reflection of it, but it's not real power. That's not power. It's like a reflect. It's not power that can stand on its own. The only time you see that is like in a pimp. That's it. And you notice that you don't see no pimps in no large levels, because you can't scale that shit up. But see, dudes don't think that way. So when dudes out here talking about groups and shit like that, a lot of y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about when y'all talk about that. Yeah, man, I'm a loner. So because I'm an independent, I'm super super super, and I'm glad you hearing that, because see, Sigma, that's what I'm talking about with that hyper individualism. That is exactly what I'm talking about. And let me be very clear here. You got dudes that they may present themselves as hyper individualists, like Ramil, fucking Xanatos Clutch, but at the end of the day, they're not hyper individualists. They're just individualists. Meaning, if you can work with them, and if you think of, okay, what's in our best interest, and will they deal with that where it makes sense, they will do that, and they've demonstrated to me they'll do that. Those are people I consider more individualists. They just come off as hyper individualists to like your pro blacks, but those are really just individualists. Hyper individualists are dudes that they don't really have an understanding of when it make, like what Sigma said, when it makes sense for you to be, when does it's not necessarily you being in a long-term committed group. That's not what it is. But when does it make sense for you? I'll say this.
Do you have the ability to discern somebody that is of like mind, of similar mind as you? And when does it make sense for you to network with someone like that, work as a group with someone like that to get accomplish whatever goals that you're trying to get done, even if you all have similar interests? That's what Sigma was saying in the chat as far as when to lead, when to follow, and when it makes sense to network with another group. That's the difference. Dudes that like I've seen Sigma demonstrate this. Ramil has demonstrated this online. Xanatos has demonstrated this. I've seen a lot of dudes demonstrate this. These are not dudes that I consider hyper individuals. They just promote individual, and that's fine. I'm talking about dudes that they don't have the ability to discern that stuff. They can't discern when it makes sense to do. So what they do is they push being, yeah, they're free thinking black men, but they will take something that literally is a group of literally dudes that are individuals. They just have similar mindsets on this particular topic. Like dudes that believe in getting a passport. Everybody that's doing a passport thing is most of them are not sex tourism. There's people that are on the Pan African shit. There's people that's on the travel couple shit. There's people that, yeah, people looking for, everybody's not looking for women. There's people that's on the business shit. There's people that do, all of the above to a certain extent. It's just certain things take priority over others. Like the passport situation is not one situation. It never was. But people want to look at it from the frame of what they're hearing in the manosphere and then try to say, oh, this is just about sex tourism. No, the white boy apparatus is much more bigger about that than anything black men are doing, because black men are just fuck ugly fat bitches. They don't see it as cost effective to do that. That's why you hear what you hear. So the point is, everybody is not everything. So you get into where it's like mine, and a lot of this stuff is kind of feeling out because a lot of people present themselves a certain type of way, and then over time you realize that's kind of bullshit based on the patterns that they show. Like I've had a pretty consistent pattern in this space. People, a lot of people complain about the fact that I take a lot of oxygen out of the room. As far as I've tried to mitigate that, not because I give a shit about what they say, but I do understand where they're coming from. And at the end of the day, this is about for me personally, if I'm gonna bring more people onto my shit, then I need to get better about letting other people talk, because I can always talk on my own shit. You know what I'm saying? So I have my own personal reasons why I do that as well. But criticism, I understand where it's coming from. I'm not somebody's all fuck that shit. Anyway, so let's see. Thanks, Big Pope, for all them lights, because that gives me a clear separation. Well, I mean, dude, I don't even give a shit about, like, when it comes to fucking tenants, the tenants are basically for people that don't know shit about it to get an idea of what it is. But real talk, I don't even like, honestly. I'm with AM1, MOT, and Ramil, and um and y'all need to subscribe to AM1 as well, because he already does some really good stuff. Also, by the way, another shout out, because I haven't watched the 5150 in a long time, but shout out to Corey Holcomb, because Corey Holcomb consistently built the 5150, and it's finally doing some real numbers. They had Godfrey on there, which has been on there, but they also had Tiffany Haddish on there, which is actually a really big get. That actually says a lot. And if you want to see what Tiffany Haddish is like outside when she's not like, buck dancing. See, okay, what is this chick like as an actual real person if you met her in real life? Go check out the last 5150 episode, because she was on there. And I gotta give a lot. I mean, Corey Holcomb is big in the comedy, but I gotta give her credit, because give her credit. Number one, it's a black dude's platform. She had a lot of reasons why she could have been stupid about going on there. So the fact that she showed up said a lot. And her and Godfrey, I mean, that's a really good panel. That could have been some shit that could have been on BET. So let me go through y'all shit. What am I drinking, man? That ain't don't worry about that. um King Simmons right. You can't save yourself if your money your money, mind, and health is not in order. And that's absolutely true. And that's really step one for a lot of y'all. Too many of y'all are looking on these videos for people to validate shit, and y'all just need to get in a perfect example.
Well, and one, as far as leaders, like the code is the leader. Like when people talk about leaders, I mean, I knew what SYSBM was for a long time. And the people that had the biggest visibility were people like Kid Organic, Darius Mix, people like that. I didn't know who Mad Bus Driver was, and I didn't care. Now, see, I didn't really push SYSBM like that because, again, my stuff is very little difference between a lot of stuff I say. Even with my stuff has my own brand to it, but at the end of the day, I've always been doing what's in your own best interest. From a pro-black standpoint, I've always said the community has to make what's in the community's best interest, what's in black men's best interest, in the community's best interest, and vice versa. It always has to be lined up. As far as what leaders are, yeah, you do got a lot of followers. You do got a lot of folks that they want to. And Ramil was speaking to this, where they're not. It's like, and dudes can get mad. Look, hit dogs holler. But they're not really about trying to get shit done and network on some productive, synergistic, plug in, plug out standpoint to kind of everybody can win, or everybody that produces what they produce can win. They're on some, I need somebody to validate how I feel about these bitches. And I'm like, at the end of the day, man, black women be on some bullshit. So do white women be on some bullshit. Now you got to navigate through that. And if you don't want to fuck with them, that's perfectly fine. But what is the conversation once dudes agree? You don't have to fuck with these chicks, and I won't judge you for not doing that. Now, what is the conversation? And that's where a lot of people get kind of spent up, so they start saying the same shit over and over and over again. And at the end of the day, what you're finding is you're seeing that there's a lot of people about pro getting shit done. And I'm gonna tell you, I've had people that they think I talk about certain shit too much, and I'm probably gonna expand my shit. So I'm having shit that's more based on more business and productivity stuff, and because this shit has already been talked about. But you're right. There are people that sit here and they wanna kind of validate. They wanna nigga, black people be black people. And I don't technically follow. And remember, I've always said I support things. There's a lot of things I support, but supporting a movement and following a movement to me is two different things. And I think too many, and I think that's where a lot of that. That's where a lot of that. I'm an individual. I'm not a follower standpoint, because what they're seeing is a lot of people in the audience. They feel like are just, it's not that there's so much following it. It's more that they agree with it. Now they want to sit and then they defend what they agree. So it seems like they're supporting something, but in reality, they're just there defending what they agree and call it SYSBM. But some people do go too hard with it. At the end of the day, I would say this. This is my balance to that. I would say this is the same thing I used to say about the black church. I would say the best way to, if you want to, it's not about spreading something, but the best way to validate something is for you to be a representative of the idea of what that is. So, for instance, when I say you want to talk about, like, this is why I have a lot of respect for Stephen Curry when it comes to Christianity. I'm like, Stephen Curry presents an image, and he lives his life in a way that is Christ-like. Now, I know he's fucking on the side. I've heard about that, but you get what I'm saying. It's the image of what he presents, and he allows that to stand on its own. Just like Kobe Bryant was with his Mamba mentality. Kobe Bryant created that and let that stand on its own based on how he represented that. As a man, if you say, okay, I rock with this idea of free thinking black men, you have to be the greatest example of what that is. You have to be a walking banner. When I say a walking banner, I am not fucking talking about you telling people about it and then trying to evangelize people. This is the opposite of that. What I'm telling you is you gotta be on code, and when I say on code, you have to be on your own shit. And that's the biggest that is the biggest representative and, quite frankly, the biggest inoculation to a lot of people in their bullshit. You said it sounds like I'm underwater? Oh, my bad. Damn, I said some real shit right there, too. Like I said, man, I'm still messing with this thing.
Jessica, what I'll say is this. What I'll say is this. You say as a black woman, black men demonize, I guess, us so much. Yet anything happened to them, it will be 10 black women behind them. Jessica, you need to get out of what my advice to you is this. You need to get out of your own bubble. I can clearly kind of tell you have this bubble of like TV, social media. Probably you got a lot of women, your women that run your family, or dudes that don't really assert themselves to dominate what goes on in your family. So their narratives, you have this like bubble, and I'm gonna tell you, there used to be a woman by the name of Black. This is years ago. She's older now. She's probably like 27 or 28 now, but this was like maybe 4 years ago. No, she's probably like 25, 26, because she was like 21. She was your age, dark skinned girl, attractive young lady. She was out of Oakland and she's in New York now, I guess, because she moved. And she had, in fact, if you type in Black Nostalgia, type it, and you'll find her. And go to her older videos from like 3, 4 years ago. And what you'll find is she was saying a lot of same shit you say. And I don't know what she's about now, but the problem is these motherfuckers are in these like little bubbles where their narratives and their perceptions are bent. Your perception is, oh, black. I, I don't know how you can make the statement that if black men do something or black something happens to black men, there's 10 black women in behind them. I don't know where you're seeing that on some Black Lives Matter shit. I don't know. And here's the thing, those women are not there to defend that black men. Those women are there because that's where the attention is. To the point where a lot of black women resented the fact that black men getting killed got a lot of attention. When something happens to a black man, black women try to get out of the way because they're like, there's attention. Kobe's about to get up. Like, to be fair, white women did the same thing. There's going to be a lot of attention on Kobe, so we need to get in front of that. Or there's going to be a lot of attention with Nipsey Hussle. It's attention horn. That's really all it is. But it never had anything to do with defending black men. This is why when you hear, what was the chick's name? What was her name? Khalees talk about, I'm done defending the sanctity of black men. It's like you all live in your own world. You are like, you live in your own world. So in your world, these are like the narratives that you get. It's kind of like Africans, how they think about America through the Cosby Show. That's not reflective of most of black society, but that's what they saw. It's your own view, and it's very obvious you have never questioned your own bullshit. I question my shit every day. That's why my shit is always reinforced. But it's very obvious you don't question nothing that you've ever been told or the world as you see it. It's very obvious. And I'm gonna tell you, the younger you learn to do that, the better off you'll be. Cause you got time. But don't be like these. I'm gonna prove it. You go listen to some of these chicks that are 40 something years old, they saying the same shit at 45 that your ass is saying at 22. That should tell you a lot. That should tell you a lot. And these are not people where you do not want to be in their situation. And these are not even when these are attractive women that they ain't got a man, they ain't got a man somehow, and they're attractive. But it's like, what happened? You don't want to be in that situation. I agree with that, Zero Max. You do have more community minded individuals that want to make SYSBM more community minded. But that's not what SYSBM is for. What I would say is if you want to be community minded, you create your own shit, but don't call it that. That's my thing. Because that's not what it is. And that's not what it's about. People want to take this thing and like license it to their own shit. Get that money. Nobody said money would stop. I would actually, the more money you have, the more opportunity is to finesse you. So nobody never said that, man. Nobody never said money wouldn't stop you from getting finessed. You can get finessed no matter what you have. So again, man, y'all are kind of throwing stuff out, but whatever. If people don't want to hear, yeah, I'm covering the speaker. My bad. You don't necessarily see me on SY. I mean, you see me more in spaces of people that say they're ignored more than anything. And by the way, people talk about their SYs being more community minded. That's ignore. So again, but it is what it is, man. People take this shit and argue this shit back and forth. I'm just running my mouth at this point. Anyway, so I got the testing I needed to. Good hour. Appreciate y'all. I'll probably do a stream maybe later on today, maybe on the weekend. It is what it is. But with that being said, this is Edward signing out. Peace.